Hi, I'm Katie Duke, and I've been a nurse for over 20 years. Listen, I used to think that I was my most stylish in my 20s, but honestly, style and confidence only get better with age. And that is why I love Figs. These scrubs are beautiful, comfortable, and they are built to last. They're not those boxy, scratchy uniforms that we all started out in. No. These fit perfectly. They feel amazing, and the quality is just wow! My favorite color? Burgundy. It's chic, it's timeless, and it's even the same color as my apartment, because I'm kind of obsessed with it. And I love adding custom embroidery to make my scrubs as personal as my style. And since I work in telehealth, my embroidered Figs even double as my ID badge. It's never too late to reinvent yourself or your scrubs. Get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with the code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX for 15% off your first order.
If you spend 5 minutes online right now, you'll be convinced that you need a cold plunge tub and a red light helmet and NAD infusions and a blood panel that probably costs more than your first car did. Longevity is having a moment. But there's the question nobody is really asking loudly enough. Do you actually want to live longer, or do you want to live better? Because those are not the same goal. And for those of us in midlife, the smarter target isn't lifespan, it's health span. I'm Jay, and this is Somnilopod. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm so glad you decided to join me. Lifespan is something that's been on my mind lately, as have a lot of the recent topics. But lifespan in and of itself is the number of years that we're alive. And health span is the number of years that we're functional, independent, mentally sharp, metabolically stable, mobile and emotionally resilient. In other words, health span is how long you feel like yourself. The data are sobering. In the United States, average lifespan hovers in the mid to upper 70s, but the average American spends roughly the last decade of life managing chronic disease, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, frailty. More years? Yes, but not necessarily better years. That's the part the longevity hype machine tends to skip over. But let's zoom out. When we look at real population level data, not influencer experiments, what extends healthy years? It's super boring, and you more than likely already know the answer. Strength training, cardiometabolic fitness, nutrition quality, social connection, avoiding things like smoking, managing your metabolic health. And this is the one people really underestimate: consistent, high-quality sleep. No cryotherapy required. The Blue Zones research, and those are regions where people live longer, healthier lives, doesn't center on supplements or optimization stacks. It centers on movement, community, whole foods, purpose, sleep patterns aligned with natural rhythms. If lifespan is the number of years on the calendar, sleep determines how well those years function. Let's talk physiology. During deep sleep, slow wave sleep, the body releases growth hormone. That's tissue repair, muscle restoration, bone support, metabolic recalibration. During REM sleep, we process emotion, consolidate memory, and recalibrate stress systems. Meanwhile, across the entire night, inflammation markers are modulated. The glymphatic system, the brain's waste clearance pathway, becomes more active, helping remove metabolic byproducts like beta amyloid. Sleep is not passive. It is active biological maintenance. When sleep becomes fragmented in midlife, which it often does due to hormonal shifts or stress load, weight gain, alcohol use, sleep apnea, or circadian disruption, inflammation increases. And chronic inflammation is the common denominator in nearly every age-related disease. Cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, depression, autoimmune disease, loss of muscle mass, strength, and coordination as we age. You can't out-supplement chronic sleep deprivation. You cannot cold plunge your way out of inflammatory overload. Sleep is where it's at, baby. And here's the hard truth. Midlife is where health trajectories bend. Metabolism slows, hormones shift, muscle mass declines, visceral fat becomes easier to gain, stress accumulates, parents age, careers peak, kids need things. Sleep often takes the hit. And this is where lifespan and health span quietly diverge. Short sleep duration, under 6 hours consistently, is associated with increased cardiovascular risk, impaired glucose tolerance, elevated cortisol, and systemic inflammation. Fragmented sleep, even if those total hours look decent, increases systematic nervous system activation. And the translation is that your body behaves as if it is under chronic threat, and that state erodes your health span. If I had to pick one mechanism that separates health span from mere lifespan, it would be chronic low-grade inflammation. Not acute inflammation like when you sprain your ankle and it swells. That's protective. But chronic inflammation, that smoldering kind driven by stress, poor sleep, excessive visceral fat, insulin resistance, and environmental factors. Even partial sleep restriction, a few nights of 4 to 5 hours, measurably increases inflammatory markers. Now, connect that to midlife realities. Your strength training? Good. You're trying to eat better? Good. Maybe you're exploring longevity supplements? That's fine. But if you're sleeping 5.5 hours a night and waking up at 3 a.m. wired, you're fighting biology. Now here's a reframe. Health span isn't just about optimization. It's also about recovery capacity. How quickly can your system return to baseline after stress? That is resilience. And sleep is the primary driver of recovery. You want to preserve muscle into your 70s? Protect your deep sleep. You want to reduce Alzheimer's risks? Protect slow wave sleep. You want to stabilize mood in midlife? Protect your REM architecture. It's not glamorous, but it is powerful. So what does this mean practically? If your goal is health span over lifespan, the hierarchy looks more like this. Lift heavy things 2 to 3 times per week. Walk daily. Maintain metabolic health. Your waist circumference matters. Limit alcohol. It fragments sleep more than people realize, especially as we get older. And screen for sleep disorders like sleep apnea, especially if you snore or you wake up unrefreshed. And protect that consistent sleep window. You don't just need a longevity protocol, you also need a recovery protocol. And that, my friend, starts at night. And the irony of all of this is while many of us are chasing a longer, better life, we focus on products that can help get us there. Supplements, gadgets. But sleep is free. Doesn't require a subscription, doesn't require a biohacker identity. It requires consistency, boundaries, and respect for your circadian biology. And yet, it's the most underutilized longevity intervention available. If you improve sleep quality in midlife, you lower inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, protect cognition, stabilize your mood, and you enhance recovery from exercise. That is health span leverage. So maybe the goal isn't 100 candles on the cake. Maybe it's feeling steady and strong and emotionally regulated in your 70s. Maybe it's the goal of climbing stairs without pain at 80. Maybe it's the goal of remembering names at 85. That is health span, and it starts tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please remember to touch base with me if you have questions or recommendations for other topics for future episodes. You can reach me at j@somnilopod.com. Also, please check out the YouTube channel and like and subscribe. That really helps me, as well as hit me up on the socials, Instagram and Facebook. So until we talk again, please remember to make sleep a priority. Thanks so much.